Hello, let us now study about the osteology part of middle cranial fossa. So this one is the middle cranial fossa, which is like a butterfly shaped with this is the center portion of the middle cranial fossa formed by the sphenoid bone, and these are the side wings of the middle cranial fossa, which is formed by the squamous part of temporal bone and petrous part of the temporal bone. So this middle cranial fossa in the middle is bounded in front by this sulcus, which is called as sulcus chiasmatis. I'll say the sulcus as sulcus chiasmatis. This sulcus chiasmatis on its lateral ends leads into a canal, and that canal is called as the optic canal. So this one is the optic canal. The lateral ends of the sulcus chiasmatis on either sides leads into a canal which is called as optic canal. This optic canal transmits optic nerve, the second cranial nerve, the meninges covering the optic nerve, and also the ophthalmic artery. These three are the contents of optic canal. Traced below, behind this sulcus chiasmatis, you can see an elevation like this, which is called as tuberculum sellae. It is called tuberculum sellae. And the lateral ends of tuberculum sellae is called middle clinoid processes. Middle clinoid processes. Okay? So this is the tuberculum sellae and this is the middle clinoid processes. To the tuberculum sellae, to this tuberculum sellae is attached the anterior margin of diaphragma sellae. Okay, to the tuberculum sellae, the anterior margin or anterior end of diaphragma sellae is attached. Then posterior to this tuberculum sellae, you find a depressed region which is called sella turcica or pituitary fossa or hypophyseal fossa, which lodges the pituitary gland. It is called sella turcica because it represents a shape of a saddle of a Turkish horse, being deeply grooved. Anteriorly, it is limited by the tuberculum sellae, and this is a depressed region. Posteriorly, it is limited by this portion which is called as dorsum sellae. This one is called as the dorsum sellae, and the lateral ends of the dorsum sellae is called posterior clinoid processes. Okay, that means these two are the posterior clinoid processes. In between we find sella turcica. Okay, extending from the tuberculum sellae to till the dorsum sellae is diaphragma sellae, which overhangs the pituitary gland, forms the roof of the pituitary gland, extending from tuberculum sellae to diaphragma sellae. Is it clear? And to the posterior clinoid processes here, attached margin of tentorium cerebelli is attached. Attached margin of tentorium cerebelli is attached. And the free margin of the tentorium cerebelli is attached to this anterior clinoid processes, which receives the attachment of free margin of tentorium cerebelli. Posterior clinoid processes receives the attachment of attached margin of the tentorium cerebelli. This is about the middle region of middle cranial fossa. Now coming to the lateral region of the middle cranial fossa, underneath this lesser wing of the sphenoid, there is a transverse fissure, deep transverse fissure, which extends into the orbit, lying along its superior end, somewhere here. So this is called as the superior orbital fissure. This is called as superior orbital fissure, which in the middle gives attachment to a ligament. This is a ligament which is called as annular ligament of Zim or annular tendon, or even tendinous ring of Zim, thereby dividing this superior orbital fissure into three compartments: medial, intermediate and lateral compartments. Okay. Few structures pass through medial, few structures pierce the tendon and become a content of intermediate compartment, and few structures pass through the lateral compartment. To remember the structures passing from medial to lateral, it is better to remember this mnemonic like I slept one night and left for Telangana State Mandal Office. Okay, try to remember in this format where I stands for inferior ophthalmic vein, S stands for sympathetic plexus around that vein. So these two structures are the content of medial compartment. Is it clear? These two, the first two IS are the contents of medial compartment, which stands for inferior ophthalmic vein and sympathetic plexus around it. Next three, these three are the contents of middle compartment. That means which pierce the tendon. Which tendon? Annular ligament of Zim or tendinous ring of Zim or annular tendon. These three structures pierce. And what are those three? O stands for oculomotor nerve and its both divisions and its two divisions. N stands for nasociliary nerve and A stands for sixth cranial nerve, that is abducent nerve. Is it clear? Oculomotor nerve and its two divisions, nasociliary and abducent nerve. These are the contents of middle part of the superior orbital fissure piercing the tendinous ring. The lateral compartment, from mediolaterally, structures are lacrimal nerve, L for lacrimal nerve, F for frontal nerve, T for trochlear nerve, fourth cranial nerve, S for superior ophthalmic vein, here inferior ophthalmic vein, superior ophthalmic vein, M for branch of middle meningeal artery, and O stands for recurrent branch of ophthalmic artery. So all these are the contents of superior orbital fissure from mediolaterally within each compartment. Okay. Next, after that, if you see the middle cranial fossa, there is a rounded foramen here. This rounded foramen is nothing but foramen rotundum. It cannot be seen from below. It does not lead to the norma basalis. So it opens into the pterygopalatine fossa, and this foramen transmits, which is somewhere here, it transmits maxillary nerve and an emissary vein. Further, posteriorly you can see one more foramen which is oval in shape on either sides, which is called foramen ovale. To remember the contents of foramen ovale, you try to remember male, M-A-L-E. M stands for mandibular nerve, A stands for accessory meningeal artery, L stands for lesser petrosal nerve, and E stands for emissary vein. Is it clear? All these are the contents of foramen ovale. It is oval in shape, hence it is called foramen ovale. Posterior to it, another small foramen is seen on either sides, and that is foramen spinosum. So posterior to this foramen ovale, you can see a foramen here. That is called as foramen spinosum. If you see from below this spinosum, that means from the basal aspect, if you see this foramen spinosum, it is related to this projection of bone here, which is slightly broken here. That is spine of the sphenoid. Since it is this foramen is related to the spine of the sphenoid, hence the foramen name is foramen spinosum. Is it clear? So that this foramen spinosum transmits all M's you remember: middle meningeal artery, middle meningeal vein, meningeal branch of mandibular nerve. All three M's: middle meningeal artery, middle meningeal vein, meningeal branch of mandibular nerve. This meningeal branch of mandibular nerve can also be called as nervus spinosus because it is closely related to the spine of the sphenoid. Hence it is called nervus spinosus. Okay. You can see one more foramen medially here. If you see from below, which is irregular shaped, So that is foramen lacerum. Foramen, this one is a foramen lacerum. Lacerum means irregular shaped. It is representing a lacerated wound. We have wounds like if there is a injuries are named in the form of abrasions, lacerations. Abrasions means a linear injury where a pattern is seen. In case of lacerated wound where the margins are zigzag, hence we call it as lacerated wound. Similarly, this foramen also is irregular in shape, zigzag shaped, hence it is called foramen lacerum, which transmits meningeal branch of ascending pharyngeal artery and emissary vein. Okay. Sometimes there can be a foramen seen, rare foramen which is not present here, in front of the ovale or just slightly lateral to the ovale, something like this. This foramen, when present, it is called as foramen of Vesalius. Vesalius is the father of modern anatomy, and when present, it transmits only an emissary vein. Sometimes there can be a foramen present between these two, that is ovale and spinosum. When that is present, a small foramen, in this case it is not there. If it is present, it is a nameless foramen, hence we call it as foramen innominatum or canaliculus foramen or canaliculus innominatum. When present, it transmits lesser petrosal nerve. In that case, foramen ovale contents will be only MAE because that L is going into this foramen, which is foramen innominatum. Okay. This is about the medial part. Now coming to the lateral part of the middle cranial fossa, you can see numerous grooves, depressions which are meant for the branches and tributaries of middle meningeal artery and middle meningeal veins, and you can see certain elevations and depressions which are formed by the corresponding sulci and gyri of the temporal lobe of the corresponding cerebral hemisphere. Posteriorly, if you see, this is apex of petrous temporal bone. So this is the superior border of petrous temporal bone, and this anterior end is the apex of the petrous temporal bone. Close to it, there is a depressed region here where I am putting my pulp of my index finger. That is a depressed region which lodges the trigeminal ganglion, and that region is called cavum trigeminale or trigeminal impression or trigeminal depression. Posterior to it, there is an elevation here you can see. This elevation is called arcuate eminence, which is produced by the bulging of the semicircular canals of the internal ear inside. That produces this arcuate eminence. Further posterior, you can see this one, it is completely this plate of the bone, we can call it as the tegmen tympani, which forms the roof of the middle ear. And the superior border of the petrous temporal bone lodges the superior petrosal sinus. So this is in brief about the middle cranial fossa. Thank you.